Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very delayed video on the secondary channel. My name is Cacfont. Hello, hello. Um, so, one thing, last week there was no video because I fucked up. I had a bunch of midterms and I didn't have enough time for them, so I had to straight up just, I couldn't release the video that I had planned. I do still have it recorded. I'll probably upload it one of these days to make up for it. I do still have another video planned for next weekend, so yeah. So today's video is a bit personal, mainly because it involves something of my past and that it's related to one of the lowest points in my life thus far. I'm going to talk about my former friend group. So, um I the first person of this friend group, I met them on all the way back on kindergarten. Um he was basically the cool guy. He was always the cool guy on kindergarten, on elementary, and on high school. He we're gonna call him Lewis. Lewis was always the perfect guy in a way. He was also my first ever crush, if I'm honest. Um, so I go more in depth of like my crush on this guy on my secondary on my other video. But yeah, I kind of had he was kind of like my first IRL gay crush. Shame he was like very straight, so um and yeah, like he was always the coolest guy. He was my friend for the longest time. Always like the chill guy, the guy who everyone's opinion, like everyone values his opinion, athletic, good in class, all that jazz. Um, but he ain't like the main guy of this friend group. The main guy, I met him on tennis class because yes, I used to do tennis. I was not good at it. Um, so we're gonna call him Rocky. Yeah, we're gonna call him Rocky. Rocky was this. He was older than me by a year. He he bi- a bunch of his personality was just being from Spain. Like that was 90% of his personality of like, oh, I come from Spain. I was born in Spain and I go to Spain every so often to visit family. Even though he was like incredibly Argentinian, like hell Argentinian. He was like, "No, I'm Spanish. Like you wouldn't get this," and stuff like that. He didn't have a Spanish accent whatsoever. He was just Argentinian who went to Spain. Not, his parents also didn't have a Spanish accent. No one in that family had a Spanish accent. And he was also like the first person that I met in my life that knew what the heck Nintendo was. I'm not joking. He was the first one where I got to talk about video games with. I thought he was cool. I really did. Um, he also always mentioned how they had all this cool stuff themselves. Later on, they would be the one friend on the friend group that had a Nintendo Switch. But yeah, another person who I met on here was Peter. Peter was also a guy from tennis class who was kind of like the opposite of Rocky. Rocky uh was, you could say that they were comfortable slash kind of wealthy. Meanwhile, Peter was pretty poor. Uh he was from a humble family. He had like two brothers. It was a whole thing. Turns out that I was his neighbor when I was like a baby, and during that time, apparently my mom heard Peter's mom being quite abusive. I don't know. I wasn't conscious back then, so yeah, they didn't come from the best place. but they were still a cool guy. They also knew what Nintendo was, and they were also the one friend. Like our friendship began because I one day I asked, "Hey, do you know this web series called Five Nights at Freddy's High School?" And he was like, "Oh my god, yes, I do love it." And back then I loved it, so I was like, oh my god, we can talk about it." And then that's like how our friendship began. Um, and lastly, in this friend group, there was Christian. Christian is the one that I basically know the least about. We did play a bunch of modded Minecraft together. But he was also like Rocky, kind of wealthy. He had a very big PC. We played modded Minecraft, and we also played Resident Evil 5 one time. But yeah, I don't. He didn't have much personality other than being Rocky's friend. This friend group, like, we were all united because like we like video games. We are nerds. There ain't much nerdage in this city. We need to stick together. And we did hang out a lot. Mainly we went to Rocky and Christian's house. Uh, where we either played the two things that we played the most were on Rocky's Nintendo Switch. We played Smash Bros. And and on Christian's place we mostly played Monopoly. We played just board games, and I mean, we had fun. On Rocky's house, that's also how I learned about the existence of Puyo Puyo, and therefore changed my life and autistic. Um, but yeah, we were a good friend group. However, like a year or two after this friend group being a thing, Rocky took a certain approach and a certain liking to politics, right wing politics. He would go on and on about just he would basically 99% of the time just talk about politics. Keep in mind he was not of legal age to vote even. Just going on about how the right wing was based and all that shit, and so did Christian. And basically the group started to at least convert onto a right wing politic group. And I was always iffy about it. I am one of not liking. I myself I'm left winged, I would say. And my whole family is also left winged. And that's a thing that mainly Rocky and Christian would constantly make fun of. Um so for context, the thing with the left wing and the right wing over here in Argentina is that, well, they're like basically right wing thinks that left wings are the devil. I mean, they treat him like such, and same with left wings. Like they treat the right wing as the devil, kind of like in the U.S. But it's still it's. I think it's more. I think it's a bit worse over here, especially on these later years. So, Rocky constantly made fun of my family, just because they were left winged, and I am a person that really loves his family. I love my mom. I love my dad. I love my sister. And I do not take well to people just openly making fun of the people that I love. And it also doesn't help that the same people were one of the first were my friends, and so I there's some of the people, like, first I came out as bisexual to my mom and my dad, and then I came out to them. I also came out to them as someone with Asperger's syndrome. And they would constantly mostly make fun of me having Asperger's. They didn't really care about me being LGBT, thankfully. Nowadays, I firmly believe that they would be kind of homophobic. Um, but yeah, they made fun of me a lot, and I hated that. during 2020, it would only escalate more and more and more, and they would keep making fun of me, and then would keep making fun of my family. And so one day I had enough. I decided to completely cut them off, and and basically after that, I ended up having no friends whatsoever. It was tough. It was a really tough time. The loneliness. Also, I remember one day, like once people were allowed to at least go to a shop during the pandemic, I went into like a corner store and they were all outside the corner store without any masks on 2020, and that was not cool, like at all. I definitely believe that they would be like anti-mask, anti-vax at a point. Um, yeah, they were definitely not the best people. Thankfully, a year later, I mean, not a year later, like a couple of years later, I was able to find my current friend group, which I still love to this very good day. They're very good friends. I don't think we ever talked about politics. Wait, we did talk about politics once, but we just like said, okay, listen, he's stupid, and that's it. That's the whole talk about politics that we had. Um, but yeah, my new friend group, like we don't really make fun of each other anymore. We're pretty much just average supporting friend group, which I really appreciate. We still like open up about our issues and such to each other, but it's mainly all good stuff. And so years after, like when I'm graduating, I started learning about some of these people. Um, I didn't learn about much about the destiny of Rocky and Christian. I just know that they exist still, and they still have the same politics. However, when it comes to Lewis, he apparently had a successful life. Is having a successful life mainly since he went at a high school that was kind of like towards engineering, and he has a dad that works at a factory nearby, so he was easily able to get a job there as soon as he graduated. And then there's Peter. So I only heard this from my mom, but turns out that Peter uh had to uh, failed his last year of high school, and apparently he did that. I don't know if he did that 2 years in a row or only one. I think it was only one, but I wouldn't put it past him being two. And nowadays they're studying to be a history teacher alongside a person from my current friend group. But I'm not worried. I don't think that like those like politic beliefs would rub on him, and like I don't believe that they would be as annoying and as mean as they once were. But yeah, this friend group really fucked me up. I They also pushed the agenda of me basically being a piece of shit. They pushed they constantly told me of how I'm ugly, how I'm the ugliest, how I'm the fattest, how I'm basically the worst, and it really hurt. It really those were things that I had to work a lot in therapy, because it's tough. It's tough to be, always be considered the ugly friend, always be considered the shitty friend, always be considered, that, and also how they made fun of me just because I had Asperger's syndrome. It was not good. But the good thing is that now I have awesome friends. So if you went through a horrible friendship or are in a horrible friendship, don't be afraid to leave it, because you will find eventually people who love you for who you are and who are actually nice people to you. I know myself. I firmly believe that I would never I believe for a whole year or two that I would never have a proper friend IRL. But let me tell you, those friends actually exist. Good friends exist. And so I firmly believe that if you're in a situation of loneliness, you will find people who care and love you as well. So yeah, that's about it. I've been CacFun. Have a wonderful night.